A chaotic November continues. And there'll be more chaos on the way. What kind of chaos that took place in week 13 of the college football season? And what we can look forward to as well. The playmakers back in the building. We're going to go over what happened in week 12, preview week 13, and the new CLP rankings slash bracket reveal. It's Bear Down and Gridiron on this lovely Wednesday, November 20th, and it starts right now.
I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. Okay. So if they ask you how I feel, what's up? I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, what's up? I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, what's up? I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing.
What's up, people? How y'all doing on this Wednesday, November 20th, 2024? Made a mistake in the intro. We're gonna review week 12, preview week 13. We're gonna get it all into it. Because chaotic November continues in the college football world. It is ridiculous out here. More teams got upset. Big wins and big conferences. The CLP rankings looks different. The bracket looks different. The chaos continues, and you have to love it when it comes to the college football world. So the playmakers in the bed, I am in here. I hope y'all having a good week thus far. We hit the midpoint of the week, so let's get you what you need to get to. So let's go ahead and jump into our 2-minute drill. And to begin our 2-minute drill, we gonna go back a bit. Louisville's defensive back Tyron Holloway suspended after arrest. Louisville's defensive back Tyron Holloway has been suspended indefinitely following his arrest for first degree. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm reading this. For first degree strangulation and fourth degree domestic violence assault. Holloway was arrested Sunday, hours after Louisville returned home from a road loss to Stanford. The school sent out a statement saying, quote, the University of Louisville is aware of the arrest of the football student athlete Tyron Holloway. As we gather more information, Tyron has been suspended indefinitely from all team activities, close quote. According to a police report obtained by Louisville's TV station WDRB B. Holloway allegedly attacked a woman in an apartment near the Louisville campus after she tried to get him to stop smoking marijuana. The report said Holloway threw the woman off the bed and struck her in the face with his fist before allegedly putting a pillow over her face when she attempted to fight back. I want this report to not be true because if this is true, young man, you are done. Okay. Strangulation and first degree domestic assault. That is not what you need to do over some freaking marijuana. I would do Stephen A. here, but I don't feel like doing it because this is very, very serious. You do not put your hands on a woman. You just don't. You don't put your hands on a woman. You struck her from the report says you struck her in the face and then you put a pillow over her head. If they really wanted to, they can probably put you down for attempted murder because you put a pillow over her face, strangulating her. That's basically attempted murder as well. So, if this report is true, Tyron Holloway, you're done. You're done because nobody wants to have somebody like you on their football team, which is really pathetic of you to do such a thing. You a terrible human being for that. Just terrible. Moving on. Colorado's Deion Sanders enormous talk says kickstand down. Colorado coach Deion Sanders, who has his team pushing for the Big 12 title and a college football playoff appearance, said he does not intend on leaving despite talk about him possibly being a candidate for other jobs, including the NFL. Sanders has engineered an impressive turnaround at Colorado, which has already doubled its total wins from 2023. The Pro Football Hall of Famer, who began his coaching career at Jackson State, has been mentioned as a potential candidate for current and expected NFL coaching openings, including the Dallas Cowboys, who he played for from 1995 to 1999. He won 2 Super Bowls, one with the Cowboys and one with the 49ers. Former Cowboys teammate Michael Irvin and others have mentioned Sanders for the Dallas job if the team moves on from Michael Cousins. There ain't no if. That shouldn't be an if when the Cowboys move from Mike Ricardo because it should be going that direction. Coach Primetime said, quote, "I am happy where I am at, man. I've got a kickstand down. You know what a kickstand is? That means I am resting. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm enthusiastic about where I am. I love it here. Truly do." Close quote. We'll get to the Colorado Buffaloes a little later in the show. So it won't be the last time we be talking about Coach Prime. But hey, that man's doing a hell of a job in Colorado this year. Speaking of big time programs, the Big Ten has confirmed that Oregon is officially in the title game and they'll be officially making a trip to Indianapolis come December. In its inaugural season as a member of the Big Ten, Oregon has officially clinched a spot in the conference championship game on a Tuesday, yesterday. The Ducks, again ranked number 1 in the college football playoff rankings, which we'll get to later on, appear to have clinched a playoff berth in the championship game when they have beaten Wisconsin on Saturday to go 11-0 this season and 8-0 in the Big Ten. The Big Ten, however, did not confirm that was the case until Tuesday afternoon. They came out and said, quote, "Following a comprehensive evaluation of all possible scenarios over the final 2 weeks of the regular season, played across all 18 teams." That's how many teams are in the Big Ten, those of you who don't know. The Big Ten Conference determined that there are no conditions whereby the Ducks do not finish 1 or 2 in the Big Ten. Close quote. Which means Oregon's in and Indiana, Ohio State, and Penn State are fighting for the other spot. Okay. Now, once we get to all this, I will let you know how this will play out and how each team can get there. But put a pin in it for right now. But speaking of Ohio State, they do not have good news. It says Ohio State Seth McLaughlin possibly out for the season, says source. Ohio State has lost one of its top offensive linemen as it heads into the season's final weeks. Starting center Seth McLaughlin sustained an Achilles injury in practice on Tuesday and was expected to sit out the rest of the season, as a source told ESPN's Pete Thamel. The 6'4", 305-pound McLaughlin, a Alabama transfer, has been a key figure in the Buckeyes offense, and that is second in the Big Ten in points per game and third in rushing yards per game. Man, that's a tough news right there. If you're a Howard State fan, that's tough news going into a very, very big weekend coming up. That is very, very tough to have to deal with, but it is what it is. Yeah. And then finally, we have a conference championship game that is set, ladies and gentlemen, for the early December. I believe December 6th is championship week, if I remember correctly. But we know Oregon's in the Big Ten, right? But the American Championship is fully set. It will be Army, who has a very big game this weekend. And it'll be Tulane. Tulane making their third consecutive American Championship game. Army in their first year as the American, their first or second year as the American, they are in the championship game. And depending on how Army does this weekend, that championship game could be a CFP playoff spot on the line, depending on what happens with Boise State, because Boise State has the inside track right now. But December 6th, let me make sure I got my date right. Hold on. I want to make sure my date is right. I believe championship Saturday is December 6th, but I do know that you're gonna have a couple of games that's gonna be on that Friday, December 5th. So I want to make sure I got my information right. I just want to say stuff and be wrong. That would be irresponsible of me. So let's see here. So Friday, December 6th, and the Saturday, December 7th is championship week. So December 7th should be that one, if I'm looking at it right. Hold on. So it'll be Friday, December 6th for the American Championship, which is interesting. So it'll be Conference USA, the American Athletic Championship, and the Mountain West would be Friday, which is very interesting how to play. And everybody else will be playing Saturday, December 7th. So that's how that will go. And I'm looking forward to this matchup. The Green Waves has been on one. Army has been unstoppable thus far. Like I said, Army got a big game this weekend. Tulane, they just continue to do what they're doing. And then we get to December 6th. Let's see who wins the American. And that would do it for your 2-minute drill. We're going to take our first commercial break here. And then when we come back, review what happened in week 12, because the chaotic November continues.
World where chronicles of the past are brought to the streams. Whether the content is relatable or completely beyond your realm of life, there is no shadow of a doubt that this show is absolutely full of shenanigans. Get ready for
D. Willie in the evening.
This Sunday at 10:05 p.m. Eastern.
Exclusively on Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Cool McCain.
You thought you wanted Gunther against Chad Gable, but you didn't. And I'm going to tell you why. Chad Gable would take everything that Gunther's done and bury it.
The Playmaker.
It was on site. AJ Styles walked out there, seen LA like, oh, okay, then we LA Knight hopped out the car, let's go.
Break down everything in TNA, AEW, and all of the WWE programming. Join these two kings, monarchs of wrestling, live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central on the Play Caller Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Sports fans are gearing up, whether it be for the madness of March, whether it be for the Super Bowl, or even a little thing called WrestleMania. You can get all that at Fanatics, where they have a wide selection of gear from every league, including the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, the NHL, the NCAA, and the WWE. So go on and show that pride, that passion, that dedication fan that you are by whipping your team, your league, or your favorite player. Fanatics, official license, everything.
Whether it's the men's college game,
The way that this season has been going, yeah, anything is possible.
the women's college game,
And how passionate Ancient Reef was at that press conference, they got their mojo now.
the WNBA,
AJ Williams stood at 1 and 2, followed by Brittany Griner, Aaliyah Boston, Jackie Young.
or the NBA.
The Lakers had a 0.8 chance of winning. And then what happened in the fourth quarter? LeBron James by himself outdid the Clippers.
You will get any and all of the information right at your fingertips or your earlobes. Join the Playmaker as he breaks down all things basketball in Shooting Lights Out on the Playmaker's blog, network YouTube channel, and where you can find podcasts. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe, Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bearing Down and Gridiron on this Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. And before I continue on, shout out to those of you who are watching on the Playmakers Blog YouTube channel. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way, anytime we go live on the Playmakers Blog Network, you will be notified and can be the first ones in the chat to see what's going on here at the Playmakers Blog Network. But those of you who are listening to the audio version and want to know where else you can listen to this at, you can go to the Playmakers Blog website, theplaymakersblog.com, and you can see every podcast that's under the Playmakers Blog, including this one, Bearing Down the Gridiron. Also, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and wherever else you find your podcasts is at. And also, we are on a couple of radio stations throughout the country. 502 American Angel Radio. Shout out to those you guys out there out in the good old state of Indiana. And then to my big brother, Wise El Jefe, because we are also on the Real Rise Radio up in the northeast corner of the country. You know, your Pennsylvania, your New Jersey, your New York areas. Yeah, we up in that country. We up in that territory as well. So make sure y'all check us out. Make sure y'all know all the platforms that we are at. And thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for sharing. Thank y'all for supporting Bearing Down the Gridiron and all the other stuff that I do as well. Now that we got the pleasantries out the way and we ready for our next segment, it's time to recap week 12. So it's the Gridiron Roundup. And to begin our Gridiron Roundup, we're going to hit right here. We're going to see here. You see the Texas Longhorns. They came out with a 10-point win over the Arkansas Razorbacks. You got the W survived on the road on a tricky road game at that, even though some possibly like Cole Johnson, who wasn't too pleased with your performance, but I'm like, dude, you are not in the Big 12 no more. You're not gonna blow out everybody in the SEC. It doesn't work like that, sir. Be happy you got a 10-point win. Be happy. Okay. You won. That's what matters. You see Clemson, they went to Pitt and got a win. Tulane shut out Navy 35-0. And Notre Dame didn't handle business at home against ACC opponent Virginia 35-14. But the game that we're going to focus on is that Clemson 24-20 win. As you can see here, and it was a hard fought game. They jumped out to a 17-7 lead at halftime. And then Pitt came storming back and tied it up. Matter of fact, yeah, they came back and tied it up. No, they did not tie it up. They came back and they took the lead, actually. They took the lead in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, by the way. And then Caleb Cutnick took it home. He took it a 50-yard scramble to the house to put Clemson up for good and put the final nail in the coffin of the Pittsburgh Panthers. Thus, taking out the Pittsburgh Panthers in the ACC, I will show you the teams that are fighting in the ACC to get to Charlotte. But Pitt has been taken out by Clemson. Good thing for Clemson. Good thing for everybody else that's trying to get to Charlotte. Give you the numbers that you're looking for. Pitt outgained the Clemson Tigers 438 to 346. They had one more turnover than the Clemson Tigers, 2-1. They had more first downs than the Clemson Tigers, 27-21, and they held the ball for just over 9 minutes more than the Clemson Tigers at 34.6 time of possession to the Tigers, 25-54 time of possession. But you took the proverbial L. Shout out to Coach Johnson for that. The Fighting Dabbles move on. The Panthers have to pick themselves up and see what bowl game they're going to, because they will not be in a college football player because they can't go to Charlotte to fight for the ACC championship game. The number that you're looking for, Caleb Cupnick, 27 for 41, 288, 2 touchdowns. He also had 10 carries, 49 yards, and a touchdown. For those of you who don't know, because you heard me say he had a 50-yard run for a touchdown, and you're like, but he only had 49 yards of 41 yards of rushing. That we're missing 9 yards somewhere. Well, in college football, unlike the NFL, in college football, for those of you who don't know this, when you're sacked as a quarterback in college football, that goes against your rushing total, not your passing total. Like in NFL, if you get sacked, that takes off from the passing yards. In college, it takes away from the rushing yards. So Caleb Cutnick, if I will look at it, let me see. I think Caleb Cutnick was sacked a couple of times. So it took away from his rushing total, like Clemson's rushing total when you get sacked. So that's why you don't see it. I'm looking at it. Caleb Cutnick was sacked. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 5 times. Yep. So he was sacked 5 times for 9 yards in total. So when he hit that 50-yard one, take away the 9 yards he lost in sacks. There you go. 41 yards. But it doesn't matter to him. He gave his team the win. So I think that's all that he cares about. They got the dub, and Caleb Cutnick led the way. So I'm pretty sure he feels good. And Antonio Williams, 13 catches for 141 yards and the 2 touchdowns from Caleb Cutnick, which is good on the Pitt Panthers side in a heartbreaking fashion at home. Nate Yarnell. Nate Yarnell. I almost sound like Darnell, which is my name, but Yarnell. Here's with a Y, mine's with a D. 34 for 54, 350, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Running game wasn't really there. 14 carries, 65 yards. Reed, 10 catches, 108. But it's a heartbreaker one for Pat Narduzde and the Pitt Panthers on this one. All right. Our second set of games, as you can see here, Florida, LSU renewed their rivalry down in the swamp. South Carolina got a good old win over Missouri, and Boise State doubled up on San Jose State. knocking San Jose State out of the Mountain West race because they had to beat Boise State to stay in it. Boise State eliminate them. Now it's a 3-team race for them between Boise, Colorado State, and UNLV, which is going to be a very interesting game, by the way. And I do believe UNLV plays San Jose State this week. So, yep. But the first order of business in this, because we're going to look at the two other games. Florida. Florida. They upset the 22nd ranked LSU Tigers 27-16. Guess what, Brian Kelly? Your season is done. You'll play a bowl game. But that's the point your mission at hand. Your mission at hand was to win the SEC, which you're not going to do now. And your mission was to get the CLP playoff to the playoffs. You're not doing either of them. Why? Because Florida took you out in the swamp. We drowned your hopes and dreams of the SEC. We drowned your hopes and dreams of the CLP. Well, you got drowned in the swamp. Man, what a game by the Gators. And the crazy thing is, when I show you the statistics, man, it's amazing how Brian Kelly lost this game. Let me show it to you. LSU outgained Florida 392 total yards to 333 total yards for Florida. They did have the one turnover. Florida did not turn the ball over with a sitting DJ Latway in the pocket because he couldn't move. He had no ability to run, so he was just a sitting duck. So shout out to the offensive line. Shout out to that offensive line for protecting DJ Latway because he can't move. He couldn't run. He's still dealing with a hamstring injury. He could not run. He was just a sitting duck. That's what he was. LSU couldn't get to him. They could not get to him. Now, they did get to him about a couple of times. And, don't let me be suspicious here. Let me go look at the box score real quick. Man, let's see. No, they did not get to DJ Latway one time. A thorough threat quarterback who cannot run was not touched by LSU. The offensive line did a hell of a job. Get our offensive line credit because they made sure their quarterback was not touched because they knew he couldn't run. He'll be a sitting duck back there, and they protected him. Good job, offensive line. Shout out to y'all. Now, you see the one tunnel. LSU 25 first downs. Florida only had 13. Look at the time of possession. LSU had the ball for 41 minutes, almost 42 minutes. Florida had the ball less than 20 minutes. And they beat them by 30 digits. How do you have the ball for more than double the time of your opponent and you lose by double digits? I want to know. Well, I already know that I actually watched the game. I literally watched the game from start to finish, to be honest. And I'm so happy that I did. This is what happens when you try to be analytic with everything that you do. Because the LSU Tigers, they were 13 for 24 on third down. They were 2 for 4 on fourth down. Which means they went for it twice. They went for it 4 times on fourth down and only got 2 of them. Which means you turned the ball over 2 times to Florida because you couldn't make a fourth down play happen. It's not going to show up as a turnover on here. It was the strip shot fumble that Florida had on Nussmeier. But you can literally count it as 3 turnovers, actually, because you turned the ball over on down twice, plus the strip shot fumble. So you can literally say 3 turnovers by LSU, which is the reason why Florida took advantage of those 3 turnovers. It's just a lovely game. I mean, LSU, 262 passing yards, 130 rushing yards. Both better than what Florida did. And you got beat by double digits. Now, Gus Nussmeier 27 for 47, 261 touchdown. Durham 20 catches, 91 yards. Anderson 7 catches, 72 yards on the touchdown. That's LSU for the Florida Gators. DJ Latway 13 for 26, 50% completion percentage. 226 and a touchdown. Jerome Broad 6 carries, 65 yards and a touchdown. He broke one. Yes, he did break one, and it was a touchdown. Badger, who was the number one, Elijah Badger, who was the number one receiver for this game, 6 catches, 131 yards, and a touchdown. Very efficient. No, I said Florida was 3 for 9 on third down. That's one for every 3 tries. So that's 33%. They did not go for it on fourth down. Billy Napier made a decision. We're going to punt if we need to punt. Defense is playing good. If we have a chance to kick a field goal, we're going to kick a field goal. Billy Napier was not trying to put his team in any harm's way. We already knew we had a quarterback who couldn't run, who couldn't move. He was going to be a sitting duck back there, so we protected him. Shout out to offensive line one more time. The running game was on point. You got 113 total. You had 113 rushing yards on 17 carries as a team. That's 6.6 yards a carry. Penalties we got to clean up. We had 7 penalties for 55 yards, but it's all good. LSU, on the other hand, they did everything they needed to do correctly, and you got beat by 11. You got beat by 11, which is amazes me that can actually happen. That can actually happen. You know, I want to go back. I want to see this again. 41 minutes and 43 seconds time possession for LSU. Florida only had the ball for 18 minutes and 17 seconds, and Florida won the game. Florida won the game with that differential time possession. It amazes me. Brian O'Kelly. Your season drowned in the swamp. Choke on that. From the swamp to Columbia, South Carolina, where the Missouri Tigers suffered another loss. This one to the hands of 21st ranked Gamecocks of South Carolina. South Carolina jumped at them early, 21-6 at halftime. Then got to the fourth quarter when LSU made it manageable from down 21-6 to down 21-12. And then it was a back and forth affair in the fourth quarter where Missouri had a chance to win it, but they fell short of stopping the quarterback sales for South Carolina. I'm gonna get to his day in a minute, but here are the game statistics for here. 462 yards of offense for the Gamecocks to 381 for the Tigers. Both teams turned the ball over once. First down was a slight favor in favor of the Gamecocks, 22-20, and then the time possession in favor of the Missouri Tigers for over 3 minutes, 31-44 to the Gamecocks, 28-16. But when you have a day like this man had right here for LSU, the North Sales, 21 for 30, very efficient. 353 yards passing, good gracious. 5 touchdowns. I did not say 1. I did not say 2. And not 3, not 4, but 5 touchdowns through the air with 1 interception. Brady Cook, the guy that was coming in, he was a favorite to be a Heisman favorite. He was a favorite in the SEC to be one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. Not so good. 21 for 31. 237, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Efficient as a percentage wise, but not efficient in the air. As you can see, it was about sailors for the Gamecocks when you throw 5 touchdowns in the air, which means you are finding parts of that defense, that Tigers secondary, to literally pick apart, which he did. You just don't throw for over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns and not see anything wrong with the Missouri Tigers defense. Y'all got y'all ass picked apart. They picked y'all apart. Now, if I'm looking at this, right? Sellers to Harbor, 26-yard touchdown. Sellers to Simmons, 6-yard touchdown. Sellers to Brown, 38-yard touchdown. That's 3 right there. 2 of which was over 20 yards. Sellers to Smith, 5-yard touchdown. Sellers to Sanders, 15-yard touchdown. The man threw for over 350 yards. What was going on in that Tiger secondary that y'all couldn't stop the pass? Y'all couldn't stop the pass. The running game was, if I'm looking at the running game, wasn't all that. When I'm looking at the running game, wasn't all that. Missouri, you had the better running game here. 37 carries for 144 yards. That's almost 4 yards a carry. Nate Knowles, 27 carries, 150 yards and a touchdown. South Carolina didn't have that. They had 36 carries for 109 yards. That's 3 yards a carry. But Sellers picked y'all apart. Sellers averaged 11.8 yards per pass. 11.8. That means that man was averaging a first down every pass he was throwing. A first down for every pass play. When you have that happen to you, you deserve to get your ass whooped. You deserve that hell. So Missouri, you're done. Goodbye. Enjoy whatever bowl game you get to, because you're done. Now, the last set of games we need to talk about. Arizona State. They went to Manhattan, Kansas, and came out on top. That's a massive win. That is a massive win for Arizona State. And Arizona State quietly 8-2, and nobody talked about them. And you know, people gonna get on this what he said and how he treated Arizona State, but they went to Manhattan, Kansas. They handled business. They beat them by 10. And the crazy thing is I'm sitting here, Kansas State, they struggling. They are struggling. They had 412 yards of total offense, but they had 3 turnovers again. This is the second time this season when you had a game when you had 3+ turnovers. When you supposed to have been the dominant team. Y'all was not dominant. Y'all see a 10-point video, I can tell you it was dominant. The Arizona Sun Devils, they was up 24-0 at the 11-minute mark of the third quarter. 24-0 after 4 minutes into the third quarter. That's how bad it was for Kansas State at home. In Manhattan, by the way. Matter of fact, I think this is the second time you got your ass whipped at home like this. BYU did it to you. So, Kansas State, y'all knocked yourself out the Big 12 because y'all had a couple of games, 2 of your 3 losses because y'all turned the ball over so goddamn much and y'all got your ass punched in the mouth and y'all couldn't recover. Arizona State did it this past weekend, which finished y'all off. Also standing the Big 12 races, the Iowa State Cyclones, 34-17, doubling up on the Cincinnati Bearcats in a good way. And then we get to our spotlight game of the week, ladies and gentlemen. It was down in Athens, Georgia, where it was the 7th-ranked Volunteers taking against the 12th-ranked Bulldogs over the hedges. The home team got it done. Tied at 17 at halftime. And the Bulldogs defense stymied the high-power offense of Tennessee. Josh Heupel could not find any answer for his offense to get going. 14-0 in the second half was all Georgia needed to win 31-17. Shutting out the Volunteers in the second half. Completely shut out. That's not a good look for Tennessee. Really wasn't. Nico Elimavia did not have a good game. Simpson had a good game, but it did not have a good game. It was just not a game for them. Georgia, 453 yards of offense to Tennessee 319. Tennessee had a turnover, but the time possessions favor the Bulldogs, not by much. But when you can move the ball in efficient ways, things happen. Nico, like I said, was not good. 20 for 33, 167. Couldn't get the ball in the end zone. Simpson, 19 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Had a pretty productive day. Carson Beck didn't turn the ball over. 25 for 40, 347, 2 touchdowns. Nathan Frazier, 19 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown. When you don't turn the ball over, Carson Beck, Georgia Bulldogs win. Georgia wins. Now, you did turn the ball over 3 times against Florida, but we had a third-string quarterback, which pretty much negated your turnovers. But you turn the ball over against Ole Miss, you took an L. You turn the ball over against Alabama, you took an L. Well, you turn the ball over against Texas too, but you beat them in a way. So, but when you don't turn the ball over, who beats Georgia? Nobody. So you did turn the ball over, Carson Beck. Good job on you. No turnovers. Pretty efficient game. And you took what was there, and you helped your team get a nice big-time victory, which I didn't see y'all losing 2 in a row, especially with the second one being at home, and you handled business in the second half. You shut out the Tennessee Volunteers. The Tennessee Volunteers shut out. Okay? This is Tennessee's second loss. If I'm looking at this, I'm looking at all Tennessee wins: 69 points scored, 51 points scored, 71 points scored, 25 points scored. They scored 23 to beat Florida, 24 to beat Alabama, 28 to beat Kentucky, 33 over Mississippi State. So it looks like when they don't score 20, they lose. They scored 14 against Arkansas. That was their first loss of the season. They scored 17 here. That's their second loss of the season. So it looks like 20 to 24 points is the margin for Tennessee to win. Their lowest scoring win was 23 against Florida. And they won that game. And that game went in overtime, by the way. That's the game that Graham Mertz got hurt and out for the season when he tore his ACL. And he tore his ACL on a passing touchdown play. But I just want to get that in there. All right. So there you go. For me, and my picks 8-2 on the year. I did pick LSU over my Florida Gators, but I'm happy Florida got the upset. I don't mind taking that loss. And I did pick Kansas. I thought Kansas State would defend home field, which yet again they did not. And that was my second L. So 77-43 on the year after 120 games. 64 win percentage for me in picks, which is not bad at all. I must say so myself. Doing pretty good. I would like to get to 70, but I probably ain't going to get there this year because I only got 2 weeks left. I got, 3 weeks left because I got week 13 with 14 in championship week. See if we can get to that 70 mark, but we probably ain't going to get there. So hope we can get over 65 and be happy with those results there. But hey, I'm doing pretty good to say so myself. Take some L's, but I'm getting a lot more dubs, okay? A lot more dubs. So that would do it for the Gridiron Roundup, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to take our break here. Then we're going to talk CFP and conference standings to get you an indication of where we stand at in these conference before we get into our campus tour. We'll be back.
I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy, and now begins a future one of matrimony, or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network, in association with Comey Media Incorporated, proudly present The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Live every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central.
Shop hats and official sports gear at Liz. Liz is the leader and #1 destination for hats, gears, and everything that moves you, making it the perfect shop for fans to find official sports hats, merchandise, and gear. Represent your team, your town, and your style with a snapback adjustable fitted hat or beanie from thousands of college and pro teams. Browse the very latest sports jerseys and t-shirts from the best teams out there. Liz has officially licensed professional and college sport team apparel and hats featuring the hottest brands and trends. Shop online or visit one of the 100 stores across the country. Locker Rooms by Liz.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets. Join Ryan McCarthy.
I became a Jets fan because Kurt the Frog was my favorite Muppet because he was green, and the Jets wore green. That's how I became a Jets fan.
And Dustin Henry.
ESPN is cashing all in on let's pay a few personalities and we'll just kind of fill in the gaps.
As they walk you through all of the world of sports from their perspective.
The Albany Empire, it's a literal circus.
No credentials required. Where, Ryan, say the tag.
Where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. On YouTube and where you can find all podcasts. Rams fans all around the world.
It's a beautiful thing to be a Rams fan right now. Stafford's back. We will see about Cup. And running back Kerryon Williams to return.
Lend me your ears, or should I say lend Playmaker your ears, as he breaks down week by week everything in the Los Angeles Rams canon.
Number 99, Aaron Donald. Can't wait for 2029 to come to know that you are going in the Hall of Fame, and it should be first ballot, no questions asked.
Join the Playmaker as he breaks down everything Los Angeles Rams style in Ramily Talk on the Playmakers Blog Network YouTube channel and where you can find podcasts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bearing Down a Gridiron here today. And let's get right into it because we got to talk. Before I can get to the campus tour, we got to get you the information that you need, okay? Here are the teams that are fighting for championship position. For Charlotte in the ACC championship games, a 3-team race. SMU's on top, followed by Clemson and Miami. Clemson is done with ACC play. They are 7-1. They are locked right there. So it's up to SMU and Miami to make things happen. Now, let me give you scenarios here. For the way that it stands right now, if SMU wins at least one of its final 2 home games, if they win one of their final 2 games this week and next week, if they just win one, they're in. Correct? If they win one or both, they're in. If Miami wins both of their remaining ACC games, they're in. It'll be SMU and Miami in Charlotte. If SMU goes 8-0 and both Miami and Clemson are tied at 7-1, it would be Miami because Miami, they beat Louisville. And guess who Louisville beat? They beat Clemson. There go your difference right there in the tiebreaker because none of these 3 has played each other. So there's no head-to-head to look at. So, but if all 3 teams, let's say SMU drops a game, Miami runs the table, and we already know Clemson's at 7-1 in conference play. If that was to happen correctly, then it would be Miami and SMU anyway because all 3 of them played Louisville. Louisville lost to 2 of them, which we know the 2 is, and we know who the one that they Louisville beat. You see, Dabo Swinney? You put your ass in this position. You couldn't beat Louisville, but SMU beat Louisville. Miami beat Louisville. That's why you own the edge of your goddamn seat now. Because it's very simple. SMU wins one game, they're in. Miami wins out, they're in. So the only scenario for Clemson versus Miami to happen in Charlotte, SMU got to lose both games. Plain and simple. SMU got to lose both games. Miami just need to win one. If you want Clemson and SMU in Charlotte, Miami loses one of the final 2 games. SMU wins at least one. All right. So whatever it is, Clemson, I'm gonna put this in very simple terms. If you're a Clemson Tiger fan, you need Miami to lose. That's plain and simple. Miami just need to lose one game. Problem with that is, if I'm gonna go to my schedule here, see if I can pull up the Canes schedule. For Miami to lose, you talking about somebody upsetting the Hurricanes like Georgia Tech did. Problem is, there's no other Georgia Tech in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So this week coming up, Wake Forest is heading down to Coral Gables or Miami to play the Hurricanes. Then after that, it's a trip to Syracuse. There's your opportunity right there, Clemson. When Miami goes to Syracuse next weekend, not this week, but next weekend, when they got to go to the Carrier Dome, or formerly known as the Carrier Dome, it's just the Dome now. When they got to go to the Dome and play the Syracuse Orangemen, who are 7-3 on the season, by the way. So that would not be an easy game for the Canes. So November 30th, it's the game that y'all need to circle. Because if Miami loses that game, Clemson gets into the ACC championship game. That's all they need. LSU, by the way, just those of you who want to know, SMU, they have a game at Virginia coming up this weekend. And then the following week, they are hosting Cal. So Cal has been going down here after losing so many close games and heartbreaking games. So that's where the California Bears are at right now. But I get it. I do get it. So that's what we get when it comes to the ACC, all right? The Big Ten is a lot up for grabs here. You got BYU and Colorado at the top two spots right now. You got Iowa State and Arizona State rocking. Interesting part is Arizona State and BYU, they'll be meeting this weekend. So I'm looking forward to that game. Iowa State, they are still mathematically alive, surprisingly, because they have not been looking very good as of late. And then Colorado and BYU, it's very simple. Win out and you're in. I can't make it no simpler than that for Coach Prime and the BYU Cougars. Coach Prime, Colorado, and BYU Cougars, should I say. Win out. That's simple. That's win out. But for BYU, that's hard because you're going to Arizona State, by the way. Colorado, you are going to Kansas, who is coming off an upset win over BYU. So this week is not going to be an easy week for those two teams. And you have Iowa State at Utah. And then the following week, you have Colorado hosting Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State still haven't won a Big 12 game yet. So you definitely want to be that team that loses to Mike Gundy and the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. BYU is hosting Houston. You have the battle for Arizona between Arizona and Arizona State, and then Iowa State will be hosting to Kansas State. So Iowa State their chances don't look too good. Okay. BYU chances look bleak because they got to play Arizona State. Colorado has probably the best opportunity to get there. If they get to beat Kansas and BYU was to beat Arizona State, that's your conference championship right there. That's your conference championship right there, because I don't think Colorado played Iowa State, and if they did, I hope, if I'm looking at the Colorado schedule, nope, Colorado did not play Iowa State. And I don't think Iowa State played BYU either, so we have to go to some interesting tiebreakers to see how Iowa State can get in after this week if status quo holds up. I'll put it like that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they will do this, because none of them play each other, so we'll be in the same situation as we is with the ACC. But very, very interesting week. This is a very important week in the Big 12. It is a very important week in the Big 12. Let's go to the Big 10, shall we? We talked about it earlier. Oregon is already in. They'll be heading to Indianapolis on December 7th to play for the Big 10 title. Now the question is, who would join the Mighty Ducks in Indianapolis? Well, I got the scenario for you here, all right? And it's pretty simple here. If Indiana was to beat Ohio State, you can pretty much lock them in. Not officially, but you can pretty much lock them in because they would have been undefeated. And their last game of the year is they in state rivalry with Purdue. If Oregon State was to beat Indiana, they look pretty good because they already beat Penn State, and the only game they got left is Michigan, who doesn't look good. But if they should also win at Michigan, though, Ohio State needs to win out to get it. Okay, they need to beat Indiana and they need to beat Michigan. Okay, Penn State is on the outside looking in. That's pretty what it is. Penn State is on the outside looking in. The only way Penn State can meet with Oregon and Indianapolis is for Indiana to lose to Ohio State this weekend, to lose to Purdue as well. So they need Indiana to lose out, and they need Ohio State to get beat by Michigan. Otherwise, it's just simple between the winner of Indiana and Ohio State this weekend. That's going to Indianapolis. That's pretty much what it's boiling down to, okay? And then the SEC, good grace. What we're going to do is we're just going to let you see the standings. Texas A&M, both 5-1. They got some interesting games this weekend. If my memory serves me correctly, and go to the SEC slate schedule. Texas has Kentucky at home in Austin. Texas A&M is at Auburn, so a couple of tricky games there. You got Georgia 6-2, Tennessee 6-2, Alabama 4-2, and Ole Miss 4-2. Alabama is at Oklahoma this weekend. I like their chances because I don't believe in Oklahoma at all, but it is in Norman, Oklahoma. Tennessee coming off that loss, you're looking at UTEP non-conference, so yeah, that doesn't help Tennessee at all. And Ole Miss is at Florida, so tricky game here. So we'll dive in a little bit more of the SEC next week after this week plays out because that's a lot of teams. You're talking 6 teams that's still alive. 6 teams that's still alive. But you have Ole Miss beat Georgia, Alabama beat Georgia, Tennessee beat Alabama, Texas beat Alabama, Georgia beat Texas, Texas A&M and Texas play next weekend. It's a lot to get through. So yeah, we're gonna wait a week. We'll dive into that next week to get a better, clearer picture of who has a real shot at making it to the ATL. Okay, there we go. Now let's get to the CFP rankings, shall we? This is the updated CFP rankings. As you can see, Oregon still number 1, Ohio State still number 2, Texas is number 3, Penn State number 4, Indiana's number 5, Notre Dame 6, Alabama 7, Miami 8, Ole Miss 9, Georgia 10, Tennessee 11, Boise State 12, SMU 13, BYU 14, Texas A&M 15. You see Colorado at 16. Clemson is at 17. Then you have South Carolina, Army, Tulane, Arizona State, Iowa State, Missouri, UNLV, and Illinois. All right. Those are your rankings, but here's your playoff bracket. There's a change in the playoff bracket. Oregon sitting at the 1 seed, Texas at the 2 seed, Miami at the 3 seed. That's the highest ranked teams in their conference. Boise State, seed 4, as will be the highest ranked conference champion at this point in time right now. And then you see Ohio State, Notre Dame, Penn State, and Indiana hosting playoff games against Missouri, against Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, and BYU. All the SEC teams outside of Texas will be on the road at this point. And all the Big Ten teams will be hosting playoff games. And then you have Notre Dame and Alabama. What I'm seeing is, and there's been quite of a debate here. Look at strength of schedule for Georgia, number 1 in the country. Look at strength of schedule for, Texas or Miami or Ohio State or Penn State. You need to be good. My question is to the Joy Galleries of the world, to anybody out there who is upset, like the Paul Firebones of the world, who are upset that Georgia is seeded 11 and have to go to Penn State. Does winning matter to y'all? Or the fact that it's the Southeastern Conference that it doesn't even matter? And you talking to an SEC guy. I'm a Florida Gator fan. I rep the Southeastern Conference all day, every day. But Oregon is undefeated. Miami only lost one game, even though it was to Georgia Tech. Boise State is undefeated, even though they're in the Group of 5 conference. Texas only lost one game. Indiana is undefeated. Penn State only lost one game. Notre Dame only lost one game, even though it's to Northern Illinois. And Ohio State only lost one game. BYU lost one game. But if you go back and look at it, remember, we just looked at the conference. Georgia has lost 2 games. Alabama has lost 2 games. Ole Miss has lost 2 games. Here's my thing. Just because you are in the SEC, which is the best conference in college football, if y'all dumbasses didn't beat each other up, you won't be in this predicament. Why is this the first year of the 12-team playoff? Then all of a sudden, Georgia won to lose games, Alabama won to lose games. Georgia normally loses to Alabama, so okay. But you don't lose to Ole Miss. That's your fault. You shouldn't have lost to Ole Miss. Alabama. Guess what? You shouldn't have got beat by Tennessee again. You shouldn't have lost to Tennessee again. You shouldn't have. But you did. You did. You got good rebounding wins. A win over Georgia. Texas. You got a good rebound win. But you lost to Georgia. So the chairman of the committee board says, yes, we look at ranking schedule, but we look at how you play. We do look at strength of schedule, but we look at how you play. We do look at the losses that you took. So you want a team like Georgia and Alabama get credit for losing to teams like a Texas or Ole Miss to move up. But want to discredit a team like Indiana, who nobody thought Indiana would be undefeated at this point in time. Let's be all completely honest here. We looked at Indiana's schedule. We was like, well, it's Indiana. Who cares? But now that they're undefeated, we have a problem. See, in one breath, you can't look at Indiana and be like, well, they ain't play nobody. But in the same breath, you didn't expect them to be where they are. Pick a side. Nobody expected Indiana to be where they are. And guess what? Indiana has taken over. Indiana has been here. Now they got a big game. They have a very big game this week. But I do love the fact that the committee is rewarding Indiana for being undefeated at this point in time, because everybody and their mama know people weren't looking at Indiana to be a part of the CLP talk. Wasn't nobody looking at Indiana to be a part of the college football playoff rankings. Nobody looked at Indiana, said Indiana's so third in the Big Ten. People weren't talking about Indiana. But we're here because Indiana said, well, since y'all not thinking about us and y'all don't see us having a chance, we'll show you. And I'm going to go to Indiana's schedule, okay? I don't care about this Central schedule. They did talk about how they win, right? All right, Florida International, 31-7. Western Illinois, 77-30. UCLA, 42-13. Charlotte, 52-14. Maryland, 42-28. Northwestern, 41-24. Nebraska, 56-7. Yeah, the same Nebraska team that beat the brace off Colorado in week 2. Yeah, that Nebraska team. 37-17 over Washington, and College Game Day was there. 47-10 over Michigan State. 20-15 over Michigan. So out of all these games that they played on their route to being undefeated, their closest win is 5 points over Michigan, who is the reigning defending national champions, by the way, even though they don't look nothing like it. So they are beating breaks off people. They are beating people by double digits except for Michigan. Now let's go to the Big Ten schedule. How about that? UCLA, and that was and it was at the Rose Bowl, by the way, 42-13. Let's go to Maryland, 42-28. Northwestern, 41-24. Nebraska, 56-7. Washington, 31-17. Michigan State, 40-17, and Michigan, 20-15. So the committee is doing right. I don't care how y'all feel. Reward the teams that are winning. Because ain't the name of the game is win. The name of the game is win. So we're gonna try to devalue winning all of a sudden. No, we're not devaluing winning here. And I love the committee not devaluing winning. Indiana is winning. Okay, if they lose to Ohio State this weekend, then y'all can feel good about having your conversation. But Indiana's winning. Georgia lost 2 games. Alabama lost 2 games. Ole Miss lost 2 games. Don't lose. That's the point. Don't matter who you play. You don't lose. Oregon lost. You don't hear nobody complaining about Oregon. Who has Oregon really played outside of Ohio State? Because it's the same conference. They pretty much looking at the same teams. So you're not gonna get mad at Oregon for being undefeated and winning games. Why you get mad at Indiana? Because you didn't think Indiana was going to be there. That's why. The hypocrisy in this. Because look at it. Let's look at Oregon. Idaho 24-14. Boise State 37-34. Oregon State 49-14. UCLA 34-13. Michigan State 31-10. Ohio State 32-31. Purdue 35-0. Illinois 38-9. Michigan 38-17. Maryland 39-18. Wisconsin 16-13. I don't hear nobody complaining about Oregon being number 1. I don't hear nobody. I mean, Indiana played Maryland. Indiana played Michigan. Indiana will play Ohio State. Indiana will play Purdue. Indiana played UCLA. They beat UCLA worse than Oregon did. Ohio State. They beat Penn State. Who else Ohio State beat? Since you want to have this argument for the SEC, and I'm not defending the SEC, because guess what? When you have a stat conference like that, you're going to beat each other up. And when you beat each other up, you get into this position. Let's look at Ohio State. Akron 52-0. Western Michigan 56-0. Marshall 49-14. Michigan State 38-7. Iowa 35-7. You talk about the loss at Oregon. Nebraska 21-17. Penn State 20-13. Purdue 45-0. Northwestern 37-7. What's the problem? What's the problem? Oh, the SEC is so freaking stacked that everybody end up beating each other up. But guess what? What's going to happen when they add another conference game to your schedule now? Because the SEC is supposed to be adding 9 conference games to the schedule, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they added 9 conference games starting next year. They might change that. Who knows? But for right now, as far as I remember, they are 9 conference games. So all SEC team will be playing 9 conference games. So you're going to beat each other up even more next year. Win. The name of the game is winning, okay? You have a 12-team playoff. 12. Indiana, they stepped their game up to the surprise of everybody. Penn State, they had the 1 loss to Ohio State, but they ain't haven't lost since. Ohio State, they have to loss to Oregon. They haven't lost since. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. They haven't lost since. They have a big game coming up this weekend against a CFP ranked opponent. Win! When the last time Georgia lost 2 games in a regular season? When the last time Alabama lost 2 games in a regular season? See what happens when you lose. See, it's not about losing good games. It's about winning when you need to win. Notre Dame, all the teams that are in a home playoff field advantage, they won the games they needed to win. Even though they probably have lost, they probably shouldn't have lost. So for my SEC, win. Texas, you're in the driver's seat. Win. Texas A&M, you're in the driver's seat. Win. Or else you're going to be in a position you shouldn't be in because you couldn't win. Plain and simple. And with that being said, let's get to our campus tour. And to begin our campus tour, The 13th-ranked Mustangs of SMU, they are traveling to Virginia to take on the Cavaliers. You know, they're 9.5-point favorite. But as I've seen in the road games in the ACC, is not as fun as one might think. So 9.5 may be a little too much here, but SMU win. You beat Virginia, you're going to Charlotte, regardless what happens next week. You beat Virginia, you're going to Charlotte in December. Plain and simple. I'm gonna make it plain and simple for you. You beat Virginia, you're in Charlotte for the ACC title. Ole Miss is going to the swamp. The Gators already sunk one dream down in dream. The Gators already drowned one dreams in a swamp. Can they go for a repeat against the 9th-ranked Rebels of Ole Miss? Lane Kiffin renewing his good old rivalry with Florida. Now Billy Napier with Florida. Remember when Lane Kiffin was the head coach of Tennessee, and he wanted to go back and forth with Urban Myers, and that didn't work out so well for him. 12 p.m. ABC. Ole Miss, you win, you keep yourself alive. But if you don't win, you'll suffer the same fate that LSU suffered this last weekend. Your season drowned in the swamp. All right. Next up, sneaky game in the Big Ten. Rutgers is hosting 25th ranked Illinois up in Jersey. 12 p.m. on the Peacock. It's going to be an interesting game. A 1-point favorite is the Fighting Illini. So that's why I said a big, tricky game here. Illinois is trying to get themselves into a nice little bowl game here, but Rutgers are trying to spore some stuff, and they possibly can. Big one in the Big 12. This is one we've been talking about. 14th-ranked Cougars of BYU heading to Tempe, Arizona to take on the 21st-ranked Sun Devils. Sun Devils are 3-point favorites at home, 3:30 on ESPN. This is basically a de facto elimination game. In my opinion, if BYU was to lose a second game in a row, they're pretty much done because they'll be sitting behind Arizona State. And if Colorado wins, you pretty much looking yourself in the mirror saying, how did everything go wrong for BYU? So BYU wants to win this one to knock out Arizona State and keep themselves right at the top of the Big 12. This is a big game here. This is an elimination game for me. Speaking of Colorado, they are going to Lawrence, Kansas to take on the Jayhawks, who coming off that upset win over BYU that put BYU in the position that we just talked about. K Coach Prime and the Buffaloes come in with a sense of urgency, with a sense of this is business here. We need to take care of business. If you take care of business against Kansas State, you pretty much almost damn near solidify yourself in going to Arlington Stadium for the Big 12 championship game if you're Coach Prime. But the Jayhawks coming off a massive upset. Looking for another one at 3:30 p.m. on Fox. Heading to the ACC, we got Pitt and Louisville here. Even though neither one of y'all can fight for the ACC title, a good finish here can be the difference in this one. Pitt trying to rebound after that heartbreaking loss to Clemson that took them out of the ACC. Louisville, who was upset by Stanford out of all teams. Stanford knocked y'all off. 4 p.m. ESPN2. The Cardinals, 8-point favorites at home. Yankee Stadium, ladies and gentlemen. 19th-ranked, the Army Black Knights taking on 6th-ranked Notre Dame. Notre Dame, 14.5-point favorite. Prime time at Yankee Stadium, 7 p.m. on NBC and Peacock. So no matter what, they're going to make sure y'all see them golden domes on the TV screen some type of way. They get both NBC and Peacock. The Black Knights a win, an upset win of the Fighting Irish, and that American Championship game gets a lot more interesting between them and Tulane. But a win by Notre Dame, they pretty much solidified themselves in the college football playoff. This game is a massive game for both teams here. Massive game, Yankee Stadium, 7 p.m. Woo, boy. 14.5 all the Fighting Irish. Back to the Big 12. Bad hat to Manhattan, Kansas, by the way, as the Bearcats will travel to Manhattan to take on a Kansas State. My Kansas State team, they are trying to pick themselves up after suffering another 3 turnover loss at home. The Wildcats 8.5 point favorites at home, 8 p.m. ESPN2. This game really doesn't. Actually, the game does matter. Not in the grand scheme of playoff pictures, but this game still matters. You know why? It is SC and UCLA at the Rose Bowl, and another reason why this game matters because a win by the Trojans, and they are bowl eligible. A loss to the Bruins of UCLA by the Trojans, and the Bruins become one game away from being on bowl eligible. That's a mistake right there. UCLA is not favorite. USC is favorite, and there are 4.5 point favorites on the road. Okay, I forgot to change that. That is on me. But yeah, the USC Trojans are favorite, 4.5 point favorite at the Rose Bowl against UCLA Bruins. And then we get to our spotlight game of the week, and there's only one place we can go: Columbus, Ohio, where the second-ranked Buckeyes of Ohio State are hosting the fifth-ranked Hoosiers of Indiana. Big noon on Fox. That is your big noon game. 12 p.m. on Fox. 13.5 point favorite are the Buckeyes. This is the game right here. This is the game. Whoever wins this game right here has the inside track of meeting Oregon in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship game. The loser of this game will have to pick themselves up and win their finale game against their arch rival to keep their playoff hopes alive. So this is a loss here by the Ohio State Buckeyes, and they can possibly be on the outside looking in because they have 2 losses. Possibly. I doubt it, but possibly. It is there. A loss by Indiana, and people will continue to make the argument that Indiana has beaten nobody. So they have to deal with that. They also have to deal with the fact that their strength of schedule is very suspect. They have to deal with that. And thirdly, they'll have to pick themselves up and beat arch rival Purdue in the final week of the season to keep alive their playoff hopes. So a loss here is very, very vital here. But a win here is also very, very vital. And that is your campus tour. But we're not done because we're finna jump right into it. Let's hit the bear down. And so, give me SMU. Still going to have to solidify their spot in the championship game. They'll be heading to Charlotte after they beat Virginia. Give me Ole Miss because they need it. They need it in the worst way. If you fall victim to the same thing that LSU fall victim to, Lane Kiffin, you going to be looked at very differently as well. But give me the Ole Miss Rebels to go into the swamp and survive, my Gators. But I would be very happy to Gators win because they'll be bowl eligible. And I haven't even played Florida State yet. I'm going to roll with the final line now. It's going to be a very tough game down up in New Jersey. Very tough game, but I'm going to roll with the final. I think Illinois can escape. And I do mean escape Rutgers. I'm going Arizona State, man. The way that they played against Kansas State, bruh. I'm going to roll with Arizona State, which means I'm knocking out BYU in the Big 12 championship game. BYU would not be making the Big 12 championship game. I'm sorry. Give me Colorado to solidify their spot in the Big 12 championship game with a hard-fought road win at Kansas. A hard-fought win. I'm going to go with Pitt. I'm sorry. When you lose to Stanford, man, I can't look at you the same. I'm sorry. You lost to Stanford, Louisville. I can't look at you the same. You lost to Stanford. I'm sorry. The American championship game will not have more meaning to a championship game because I do believe Notre Dame will handle business like they did against Navy early in the season when Navy was undefeated. I think they'll do the same thing to Army this go around at Yankee Stadium. So give me the Fighting Irish to pretty much solidify themselves in the college football playoff. I'm going to go with Kansas State to bounce back at home because Cincinnati's been too inconsistent for me. They've been more inconsistent than Kansas State. So I'm going to go with a team that's been a little more consistent for me than the knockers of the team. Give me the Kansas State Wildcats to bounce back at home. Yep, I'm taking UCLA. Nope, I'm sorry. I can't do it. As much as I would love to take UCLA because I can't stand USC, I can't do it. UCLA has been terrible all season long. They've been getting blown out left and right. USC might not blow them out, but they should. I think they'd be able to cover and win this one. 4.5. I think that's enough for SC to win at the Rose Bowl. And then the spotlight game of the week, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have voted. And when y'all have voted, y'all stuck on Alonzo over Jordan Galloway and others. Y'all have no faith in Indiana. 63.8% of y'all said Ohio State does win this game. So 36.2% saying Indiana wins this game. And unfortunately, I am with the 63.8%. I'm going Ohio State. Give me the Buckeyes. They're at home. Ryan Day hates losing. And Kurt Cinetti, you have done a hell of a job with Indiana. Undefeated at this point in time. But I just think that this is a different level of competition here. When you go to the Horseshoe against Ohio State, you're going to see something you haven't seen thus far in your career as a head coach. So I do think the Buckeyes take care of business at home and win this game. And with that being said, give me Ole Miss to clinch their spot in the ACC championship game. Give me Ole Miss to stay alive for another week. Give me Illinois to survive. Workers. Give me Arizona State to knock out BYU from the Big 12 title pictures. Give me Coach Prime and Colorado to solidify themselves in the Big 12 championship game. Give me Pitt to bounce back. Give me Notre Dame to do something similar to what they did to Navy. They're going to do it to Army this time because I think it's a step. There's a major step up in class for Army. They haven't seen a team like Notre Dame all season, so I think they'll be in it for a surprise. Give me K-State to bounce back. Give me SC to win over their arch rival UCLA at the Rose Bowl. And just like the fans, we're going Ohio State over Indiana. Okay. And that would do it for today's episode of Bearing Down the Gridiron. Again, thank y'all for tuning in. If you're watching on our Facebook, YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can stay updated anytime we post something on our YouTube channel. Also, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and wherever else you find your podcasts that you can find Bearing Down the Gridiron on. And shout out to 502 American Angel Radio and the Real Rise Radio. That's the radio station that we are currently broadcasting on. Looking to broadcast a lot more further on. But that'll do it for this edition of Bearing Down the Gridiron. Thank y'all. Y'all enjoy your weekend. Enjoy week 13 of the college football playoff. And then we'll get more clear-cut decisions and where we stand when it comes to the college football playoff rankings and where the playoffs are and conference championship that is to be. So y'all too. Y'all have a good one. Deuces.